Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hey, Delacqua. Hey, Titi. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. So excited to see everyone. So excited. So excited. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone's Saturday going? How's everyone feeling? It's beautiful in Chicago. It's sunny and after this. Hi, Pastor Nika. I was trying to see if I should say Nika. uh, hi, hi, Kemi. It's here. It's sunny in Chicago. I'm gonna go out after this, but I'm gonna be safe. Uh, okay, we're gonna get started. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning. We're gonna be starting with our second EPR Women's Network Insta Live series, and I'm so excited. I don't know how much I can say excited, but I'm so excited because of our speaker today. I'm gonna actually put her on right now. Okay. So if you're joining for the first time, EPR is short form for EPR Women's Group. Esther's Preparation Room. And Esther's Preparation Room is a platform created specifically to help women succeed personally and professionally, so that they can take territories in every sector and make tangible impacts in every generation. Specifically, which is the group that we're on right now, is EPR Women's Network. EPR Women's Network is one of the four subsections of the global brand of EPR, Essence Preparation Room. EPR Women's Network is a group where today's professional Christian women, can access the tools and resources to deeply to deploy her gifts and talents in the workplace. Our purpose is to build up and empower women and to achieve the best in their professional lives. Today, our topic is the art of perseverance, how to keep going. And I'm excited about our speaker. I said that before, and I know that's why a lot of you are here. So we're going to get into the meat of our meal. By the way, if you have questions for her as we go along, just drop a comment and then she would answer it. Our guest today is none other than the most phenomenal woman that you can know, Nika Shoyinka. Nika Shoyinka is an infectious disease and public health physician, and she serves as a medical director in a county healthcare department. She has a passion for improving access and providing healthcare to underserved communities. Thank you for joining us, Nika. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're beautiful, by the
Hi.
way.
Thank you. You look great.
So I'm excited. I know everyone is excited. Everyone's like, hi, Nika. Everyone is just excited. I'm excited because I've heard your story, but they haven't yet. So,
Okay.
um, so we're going to go straight into the meat of it all. And just like, give me a second. We're going to go straight into the meat. So I know that the topic today is really the art of perseverance. And when we say perseverance, a lot of things come to mind, right? Like struggles and obstacles, but um, when perseverance is just not the obstacle, it's how you actually got to your end result. It's the art of getting to that place, even though there were a lot of things that happened, whether challenges, obstacles, or different things. So one of the things that we wanted to kind of bring out is that you started as a a physician, and now you're a medical director. So how did that happen?
Yeah, right. So, and thank you, Lami, and thank you, EPR, for having me here. I'm equally excited, and hello to everyone who's saying hi. Yeah. So I am, and like you said, I'm an infectious disease and public health physician, and I've been practicing 6, 7 years after, my long training, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But somewhere in there, after training for lots of years, having lots of those obstacles that you mentioned, um, I found out that I didn't like where I was. I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied after, going through all of that trouble to meet that supposed goal. And so I felt stuck and had to find a way out, so to speak, how to unstick myself. And I started looking around, figuring out what I wanted to do, what interested me, and some of which you've mentioned. One of my passions, or one of the things I'm passionate about, is a better way to put it, is access to healthcare in, resource limited communities. And so that kind of drove my direction in terms of changing my path a little bit. So now I don't, I do still see patients on a one-on-one basis, not as much as I used to. Now I work in the health department, and I work as a public health physician, more like you could call it a community doctor, in the sense that I do things that have to do with the health of the community. Case in point, COVID-19 has made my year, in the context of me being able to do what I really like. Because of what I do now, I've had the opportunity to be in the forefront of, those conversations about, and programs, and, things to do with regards to responding to COVID-19 within the county that I work.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Can we still hear her?
Can you hear me?
Yes, great. Because I got a little bit technical difficulty.
Okay,
That
let me
is
see.
great. No, but I can hear you now.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
That is great. So one of the things that I picked up when you were saying is that you felt stuck, and then
Right.
you decided to move to where you are right now. So let's go back a bit.
Sure.
Before you became a medical doctor, how was that? Like, what was the process like for you?
It was long. It was really long, and it wasn't pretty. So, I often say, I tell everyone, it's not like I became a doctor because it was just like, it was some kind of like almost natural progression, something that was expected. If you grew up in Nigeria, the the thing is, you should be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or accountant or something. I was a science student, and, at the time that I was going to do my exams, I didn't know what I was going to do, and talked to someone, and someone just told me, why don't you become a doctor? And I was like, okay, that sounds good. And besides, I wanted to make sure that I could make a living. Growing up in Nigeria, I was raised by in a single parent home. My mom raised us. We weren't dirt poor, but things weren't always easy. And so one of the things I always thought about was, I need to make a living. Like, I need to be able to, no matter what's happening, be marketable. And being a doctor was one of those things. So I got into medical school and started, but I spent a long time in medical school for multiple reasons. One, if you went to college in Nigeria, I'm sure you're familiar with, ASU strikes. So I had a lot of industrial strikes. The other piece is I had to repeat a year. And at some point in between those ASU strikes, I left school with the hope of maybe changing direction, and had to go back. And so all of those strikes plus repeating a year, I spent 10 years in medical school.
Wow.
Yeah, which was supposed to be 6 years. But I guess most of my colleagues would maybe have added, tacked on maybe like a year or something. Yeah, mine was that. So that was rough, but I had a goal, or I thought I did, right? I thought that I was, like I said, I need to make a living. I need to be self-sufficient. And that was where I was going. So I finished med school eventually, and then came to the US and had to get into the system here. And of course, that involves, doing exams and things like that. And so I did do them. I got into residency, finished residency, still felt like, I did a residency in internal medicine. It was 3 years. And after that, I was still like, I don't feel complete. I had always liked, the public health conversation. And so I went into infectious disease, finished a fellowship in infectious diseases and started working. And at this point, it was like, okay, you're done. Like you've done all these things. You're where you've envisioned yourself to be. And I didn't get the job that I liked. I was working all this while that I'd been in medical school and training and all of that. It's been, it was busy not being able to, spend quality time with my family, things like that. And so all of those things were like, okay, you're going to get to the end of your goal. You're going to get there. And when you're done, then you can do all those things. You can finally make some money. You can spend more time with family. You can, do other things that you want. And I was done. And it was just like, is this it? I was working as a hospitalist and as an infectious disease consultant. And I just wasn't happy. I would, as things would happen, in the community, I remember even before I started training, watching, Hurricane Katrina and, watching TV and being like, wow, how can I be a part of the response to this? And, not knowing how to get there. And then we had H1N1 and I was in residency and I was still like, okay, I'm still doing direct patient care, but I want to do more. And then Ebola came to, and I was just mad. Like I was just not happy. Like I really wanted to be more in there. And so I started looking around for ways to move around, to change where I was. I didn't like where I was. Yeah.
I mean, you've said a lot. One of the things that one of the things I wanted to point out, because it's like, I think even people in the comments, like, you chose to be a doctor. It's like, okay, I'm just going to go into medicine. That's not easy to do, right? It's not just to say, okay, I've looked at my options and I want to go into one of the hardest, longest professions ever. So that's kudos to you. But one of the things I wanted to point out is that you made a plan. You decided it might not have been where you wanted to be at that point in time, but you made a plan, and then even after a lot of the things that happened, you did something that was meant for 6 years to be 10 years. And then, it seemed forever, right? 6 years is forever to a lot of people. Okay. 6 years is already forever.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime. Yeah. And then you add 4 more years on top of that. But one of the things that you said is that you said, I saw the end goal, right? I saw the end goal and I kept on doing it. And then you mentioned, and I want to point out again that, you came from Nigeria and then you to the United States and you have to take exams. And I know we spoke about it, but those exams are not easy. A lot of women, a lot of men take those exams and don't pass. I think it's like the pass rate, it's like 10% or something for the pass rate, which is pretty low. But but you did that. And even after you did that, you said, I'm stuck. I'm still stuck. This is not where I want to be. And I think I wanted to point that out because a lot of people have done what they needed to do, but then they're still stuck. So, and they feel like they have to stay in that place because they've gone through the heartache, they've gone through the challenges, they've gone through everything, but they're still stuck. So how did you unstick yourself from, I know you mentioned a little bit about it, but I want us to go deeper into it.
Yeah. And it was a process. It certainly wasn't a one-day thing, and when you talk about, me doing exams and, getting in there and, doing the exams in the United States, I will say that I had a lot of support. I had, at the time I was doing my exams, I had a baby and, I had my mom to help me and my husband was phenomenal and I lived close to my sister and they did like babysitting and things like that. And then I had some really great friends. I had a good community that I worked with that we would do discussions with and things like that. And so that, was very helpful in terms of, getting some of those goals done. So that is just God providing, the support that I needed. But in terms of getting unstuck, I had to I had to recognize, I think, like I said, at the time we were talking about, everyone was talking about the Ebola outbreak and it coming to the US, and me, just trying to figure out like, oh, I wish I was, I wish I worked at the CDC or, that kind of thing. And we're just like, okay, you don't even know what that looks like. Like, I'm not sure what I want to do there, but I know where I am. I don't like it. Like, this is not the dream. And so I started looking for options. I got really restless, and my family would tell you that I started complaining a lot about where I was. And I will say that at the time that I got really restless, so to speak, was around the time that I joined EPR. And just having the conversations there, the prayer that we did weekly, I think was part of what kind of propelled me and helped me to, move along. There were also conversations and prayers in there that, that's when I knew more about, the concept of purpose and achieving it, and, knowing where you're supposed to be called to. And so I think that really, really helped. I, asked questions. I went back to places where I trained before and started, connecting with people, because I'm a relatively shy person. If you don't call me or whatever, I just stay in my little spot. But I had to put myself out there. I offered myself for more work. Like, I went back to where I trained before, the hospital where I trained before at my old department, and I started working on research with them. Like, you guys just have to see me. So I had to be more visible in terms of, asking more questions about what I wanted. And so options came to me, as I put myself out there in quotes. I was more informed about the options that I could have in terms of changing where I was. And so that's kind of what started things.
Oh my! I mean, those some of the things that you said are just so powerful. I liked when someone said you self-reflected. That was important, and I just wanted to bring out a lot of the things that you said, just in case people missed it. You said I had a good community, and that's really important, especially when you're going through things and you want to get
Right.
unstuck, right? Um, and then you said I was restless, and that's a thing that a lot of people don't even realize, that maybe that's why they're not happy, or why they're not feeling fulfilled and where they're at. They start to feel restless. So those are signs that you start to think, okay, maybe I need to, like I said, self-reflect, right? Go
Right.
deeper into me. Why am I not doing what I'm meant to do, right? Or why am I here but I don't feel fulfilled? And then you said I sought help. And then I'm so happy you mentioned EPR, because, I know we talked about it, but EPR
Right.
helped you get unstuck, right?
Right. It did.
Just the group of women, the prayers, just the network. It really does, because he helped me also. So I can attest to that.
Right.
And then one of the things you said again that I just loved was that you said, I ask questions. I ask questions. A lot of us just keep quiet.
Right.
You're not where you want to be, but you're just not going to ask the question. You need to start asking the questions. And then you said, I went back to where I was before. Humility, right? A lot of us are I mean, you're a medical doctor. Hello. I mean, when you look at the the status quo of in America or anywhere in the world, right? A medical doctor
Right.
is up there, right? So to say I went back, to you humbled yourself to say, okay, I want to know more. I want to be. That is something that is very key in the art of perseverance, right? You need to humble yourself, which is exactly what you did, to get more information about where you wanted to be.
Right.
And then you said, I wanted to be more visible. You know, um, it's so important that people understand that in the art of persevering, you have to be more visible. I know we spoke about it at EPR today. It's about being more visible. How do you get more visible? But one of it is what you did. You were humble enough to go back. You were
Right.
humble enough to ask questions. You were humble to say, look, I know where I want to go, but I'm not there yet. Please help me. Right. I think those are just
Oh, can I add a
great.
couple more to
Yes.
that? So a couple of other things that helped me, people say that social media can be a distraction, but I will say that at that point, social media helped me in terms of like, I got on Facebook and started looking at what, sometimes people say, Facebook makes you look, people only put what's, glamorous and nice, but I joined like, Facebook groups of, professional groups of people who are of like-minded. There was even a group about, thinking, one's called Thinking Out of the Box, like how to get out of medicine. Like I was ready to leave medicine completely. And I joined those groups and, heard and saw what people were doing. Like I don't post a lot on, social media, but I was able to see what different things that people were doing, and it gave me ideas about, what to do and where to go. The other thing that I did somewhere in there, I think around the time that I kind of made a decision and I kind of knew where I was going, was I got a coach. I actually got two coaches to help me, even though I had made a decision in terms of public health and I was going to do a program as a second residency. So I knew that was what I was going to do, but I didn't know what it was going to, I didn't know what job that would amount to or anything, but I needed somebody to help me work through my process so that I had someone who I was accountable to help me talk through it so I could actually articulate what I wanted. And so, I had someone to ask me those hard questions and also someone to help me create structure in my life in terms of, family and things like that as I was going into a new phase. So wanted to make that.
Oh no, that is perfect. I was going to ask you, did you have mentors? So you just said that. So I think that's great. Maybe the question I would say is, how did you go about getting a mentor? How did you go about getting a coach? Because some people are like, okay, I know where I want to go, but how do I go about getting that information?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think even at the time that I did get a coach, it was Facebook. Though I did know the person personally, but the first person had just started a coaching business. And so I was like, I'll just do it. And like, I couldn't even reconcile like the cost. It wasn't that expensive, certainly not as expensive as she charges now, but it was still like, should I really be spending my money on this? So I really just looked around, called, asked questions. And then I had a referral for the second person. I had a referral, and noted coaches are it's like being a doctor too. There's specialties. There's a surgeon, there's a internist, there's what have you. There are people who do focus on different things. And so I felt like I needed those two people at the time. And so I researched them to talk to each of them and made my decision. I did know both of them personally, which made it a little difficult. It was like, they're my friends, like, oh, I've known them for a long time, but I still paid them.
Uh, See, I like that. You went on Facebook to look for like who can help you. You went to your network. That's one of the things that we're trying to do now. We're showcasing brilliant you, so that if people if people are in the same boat, they can reach out to you and say, Nika, can you be my mentor? Can you coach me? Right? Who's in your network? So I love that. Even though they were friends, you still had to pay them. You still had to show them the respect. I think that's great advice for everybody. Maybe the question then will be, since they were your friends, or I know it was in a professional setting, was every advice good? Did you have to take every advice that they gave you?
So one thing that coaches do is that they don't necessarily give you advice. So I'm not sure that I would even call my coaches mentors, right? Because they're supposed to coach you. They're actually supposed to like work through that process of, what do you want? How do you want to get there? Okay, you outline how you want to get there, and then you'll be accountable to me, and I can help you think about what to do. And so I think the guidance, the structure that I needed was in there. And then there were also great resources too. So remember, I talked a lot about Facebook and how, yeah, that was just what worked for me. But how I was able to join other professional groups. One of my coaches was put me in a great, you know, professional group that they're not even taking people anymore. Like it's full, nobody, they're not adding
Oh,
people. If I
wow.
in at that point, and now, I mean, it's a mix of all sorts of things, but it's a good connector. Like happening. Do you guys know this? The other piece is that I also, not only did I get professional mentors with or coaches within there, I also developed some really critical friendships, destiny partnerships in there on Facebook. Like another person that we went to college together, never met her there. And then I just, you know, we just clicked, and she has a prayer ministry and I started working with her. And I think in addition to EPR, not just the professional piece, but me also growing in understanding the concept of purpose, those two pieces came to light. And I couldn't do everything. I wasn't perfect in any of those coaching situations, but I took what I could, I did what I could, and left out the rest. And, you know, sometimes they can give you 10 points. They don't even expect you to do every single one of them. But if you do some, you'll make some progress. So I can't really say that I had bad advice. I just had to take what worked for me.
I love that. I love that you said you had some destiny partnerships.
Yeah, I did.
That's a word that I've never heard of that I'm going to use next time. Because it's true, when you network, you never know what that network is going to take you to, where it's going to take you to, right? And your networks were able to introduce you to other people, other places that you needed to get to. And that's one of the reasons why you don't, close your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed, right? So you have to search out those people, the coaches, the mentors, that will get you to your next place. So we're talking about perseverance, right? And we're talking about, how did you keep going? So one of the questions that I also had for you is that, okay, so you started this program, you realized that you were restless and you needed to get unstuck, and you started doing this. You got a coach, you got a mentor. Was it easy to get to exactly where you wanted to get to? Like, you got all of those things. Was it smooth sailing? That
So remember I said that after I got into this stuck place, I looked at my options. And one of the things was, okay, I want to be somewhere, I want to be in the public health space. And I didn't have, despite all my training, I didn't feel like I was equipped to be where I want to be. And so I went back to school. And so I did a residency program, another residency program, and then I also, which included a master's in public health. And I told you this before, that master's in public was like the hardest thing. Like my med school didn't even compare, maybe because I had been out of school for a long time, and was just, practicing. But even though I'd done like 2 board exams, I'd done, the qualifying exams to get into residency, the structure of a master's program, and it was an in-person program. It wasn't like an online program that I could do at home. I was going to school every day and sitting with my classmates and having to put in homework. And, here I am, like real much older than a lot of the people in my class. And, and everybody's tech savvy and they know what to do. And, it was hard. I asked my husband, there were days that I was crying over homework, like, oh my God, like, can I just finish this? Like, I just need to pass, so it was, it wasn't just like mentally hard. I have kids, I have a home to run, so to speak. And it was just, it was hard. So no, even though I kind of knew where I was going, or I knew what I wanted at that point, I didn't know what it would look like at the end piece of it. I just knew I needed to be equipped, or, equipped to be able to be ready for an opportunity when it came. And so, but that process was hard. And I did consider quitting, like, please, I can just go back and make money and I'd be totally fine. But I didn't. I fortunately, again, had a lot of support my husband, my siblings on both sides, my, I had a lot of people who walked me through, a lot of those processes and just encouraged me um, to make the good decisions. Like,
I mean, that is just amazing. So, I mean, there's so much that we can gain from what you just said. And I think I just want to point out a couple of things. Is that you started off as a medical doctor and you had to go through so much to get there. And then you came to the United States and you had to go through so much to get where you are right now. And then you decided, well, you realized that this was not exactly where you wanted to be. And then
right,
you realized you did the work, you got mentors, you got coaches, and then you moved to where you wanted to be. But to get to that part, it wasn't easy. And I think that's where a lot of people find it hard, that even when you're going to your next level, it's not always going to be easy. It doesn't mean it's wrong to keep going. And you still use the same tools that you use to get to start, which is a good community, which you had
right,
from your family and your friends. And then you saw the end goal, which is what you did before when you were unstuck, when you were stuck and you needed to get to. So the same tools that you started with was the same tools that carried you on to where you're at right now. So it's never going to be an easy journey, but it's something that you have to keep going and keep going, and that's exactly
right,
what you do, right?
right,
I'm loving, like I said, I'm just loving your story because it helps me a lot to get to put things in perspective, and I know it's helping so many people to put things in perspective. Maybe the last question I'm going to ask you, because I know we're running in time, and then I'll take some questions from the group,
okay.
is what is the biggest lesson that you've learned that you want to impact to everyone?
So, I mean, our topic here is, perseverance. I think one of the things that I learned that helped me to keep going um, is that, we all have a path. We all have something that we're supposed to be doing, right? And sometimes it doesn't look clear cut. Sometimes, it's like, God, you promised me this, or, I know I'm supposed to be this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a straight path. It's going to involve decisions. Um, and so when you make those decisions, so you want to make them under God for sure. Sometimes you might not even know that you're making the right decision, but you've got to do something, or else you will be at the same place. If you're still trying to figure out, oh, should I not? Sometimes you just need to make a decision, and then you can pivot subsequently. So when you're stuck, don't stay stuck. Yeah, just keep moving, keep looking at those options, because you will find something, and you'll be surprised at how, no matter how torturous that path is, you'll get to where you're going, ultimately. Um, and you'll be surprised that even where you end up sometimes, in terms of like, oh, I knew I was going somewhere, but I didn't know it could be this good.
Oh man, I mean, the thing that's stuck in my head, and I know we've been saying stuck, but is don't stay stuck. I'm gonna put that in good.
Yes.
I'm a visual person, but I'm gonna write it. Don't stay stuck.
Yeah.
For everyone, don't stay stuck. That's make a decision. Don't stay in that place. Like, well, that's what you're saying. Don't make it. You don't know where you're gonna end up, but you never know. Maybe that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Those are just great advice. I mean, I can't even imagine. I think it's helping me. I'm sure it's helping so many people. Do you have any questions? I'm going to go through the comments, and just if you have any questions for it, this is the time. And if you want her to be your coach or your mentor, I mean, you might have to pay her, but because she seems like she's very busy with everything that she's doing, especially with COVID. But hit her up. Her handle is Nick Nika Pinky, like so Nika Nike Pinkee. That's a fun name. But I just know that I'm even going to be calling you just like when I get stuck. Like how do I do this? How do I do that? Does anybody have questions? I wanted to just say hello to, oh, we have so many people online and so many comments. I'm seeing the questions. Okay, so a question. How many years did you study in total?
I lost count. I don't so like I said, the 10 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. Wow. So 10 plus 3 is 13 plus 2 is 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone that says I can't go to a 4-year college or I can't do this, it's
I mean,
2 years
granted,
or 3 years.
so granted some of them. So only the 10 years was like unpaid like school. And then the other ones were, residency. So you get some kind of, I mean, I was earning.
Something, but not, yeah.
So it's not like I
yes. So we have another question. It says, were you afraid at any point?
Oh yeah, all the time. Like, I mean, it was like I had, even with all of this, by the time I went back for my master's degree and do residency again, I had friends and colleagues who were asking me like, why are you doing this? And more importantly, when you finish this, what are you going to do? And I couldn't answer that question. I couldn't clearly answer the question. And so I was scared, but again, I had support. I prayed. I mean, and through that process, I think I learned more about relying on God. And it didn't always look pretty. It wasn't like, oh my God, I quote all these, scriptures about, being able to do things really well. I remember when I was trying to do homework, I couldn't get it. And I remember this story about Elijah and how he girded up his loins. I can't even remember where that scripture is, but anyway, girded up his loins and ran past the king's chariots, and I would quote that scripture like, Lord, I need speed to, do my work. And I would still, have to struggle through it, like get it done, but eventually I did. Just because things don't look the way you expect them doesn't mean that your prayers aren't answered, doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be smooth sailing. It can be. And I'm not saying that any of my processes were right. Some of it, like I said, I needed to learn structure. I needed to learn to be organized. I'm still learning. Like I was listening to you last week saying how you did your spring, your Google Calendar. And I was like, oh man, like, I don't even know. I don't know if that will, ever be me, but, it was scary, but it worked.
No, I love it. Some of the comments are just great. Is that you pushed through even though you were scared. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable is such a critical skill. I mean, and that's exactly what that's what you did, and that's why you're exactly where you're at. We have a question that came in. Where do you see yourself in like 5-10 years? What's next for you?
So, I've thought about that. I'm in what I'm doing now. I've just been here for a year. And I really love it. Like talking about being where you want to be at any point in time. If this COVID pandemic hit and I was working in the hospital, just doing direct patient care, I would have been so upset with myself. And so for now, I'm learning. This is a totally different world for me in terms of, learning administration, management, and, having the conversations that I'm having now, for example, talking a lot about, race and, equity and particularly healthcare. Those are things I really want to build on and be more skilled at. They're pieces of my job that I'm very comfortable with, and of my job that I'm learning and having to learn fast. So I really want to, in the next 5 years, I'm hoping I will be skills in those places that I'm not comfortable with, and I would have been able to have contributed a lot to a lot of these conversations about race and health equity, because we're in a really special moment now where, you know, we can't just keep talking and protesting and complaining about it. We've got to see some action. And so I'm really praying and hoping that I can be part of those programs, those processes that be impactful and make a big change. The other piece, if we talk about, you know, 10 years down the line, another place that I'm very passionate about is healthcare equity, particularly in, you know, on the African continent, particularly Nigeria, where I'm from. And so I get really always hear about all these stories about how, you know, people lose their lives because they don't have access to good health care. And so again, those are issues that are policy issues, that are, you know, structural issues. And I'm really hoping that as I learn where I am now, I will be again I'm praying that I'll be at the forefront of those conversations to improve the healthcare infrastructure on the African continent. Now, what that means in terms of will I still be where I am now, or will I always be there? You know, will I move back to Nigeria? I don't know, but I certainly want to see a better healthcare system in Nigeria, and I want to be part of those conversations.
That's awesome. I think I'm just going to plug in that we have the KIB Foundation, which does a lot of healthcare help in Nigeria. So if you want to be a part of it, I know that we'll drop a link on it afterwards, or you can always see it on our groups. We'll talk more about it. But I love that. I love that, Nikki. So inspiring. You're so inspiring. We have so many questions, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get to all the questions. We're already over time. But everyone wants to know more, and because, I mean, we have to bring you back these things. Just one, I'll say one last question. So I'm trying to go through the questions so I know which one to pick. Sorry.
Thing here, while you're looking, can I talk a little bit about KIB Foundation?
Yes, please do.
Someone said, tell us more about KIB Foundation. So KIB Foundation is it's Catherine Israel Bolariwa Foundation, and it was founded by Pastor Nike from EPR, and it was started as a result of their, you know, their personal experience. The goal of KIB is to try to support pediatric healthcare in resource-limited settings. Definitely, our initial focus has been in Nigeria, and our goal is to expand that reach across the African continent, and quite frankly, wherever that is needed, even if it includes the U.S. or you know, other places. We are truly going to go global. I will say that KIB gave me, as part of my whole, you know, retooling my career kind of thing, it gave me a place to express what I was passionate about, in terms of, you know, looking for people who, like, if we didn't do the thing, if KIB doesn't do the things that they do in terms of providing, supporting healthcare through education, you know, direct supply of medication, and whatever else it is that we do, if we didn't do those things, it could cost a life. And that's, you know, that's really the goal of KIB, seeking out those people who really need our help and otherwise wouldn't have it, to make sure that children who live on those places, in those places where there aren't enough resources, can live another day, can live be 5 years old, or, you know, what have you. So
Thank you so much for that. And if you want to be a part of KIB, I mean, please reach out to Nikki.
yes, we're looking for more hands. We'd love to have you.
Yes. So the last question, really, and I chose this one because this is what we're in. It says, what advice do you have for us about the future of COVID? And what should we be doing now? A lot of conflicting ideas out there.
Wow. Okay. So do what you've heard to do. The the recommendations about washing your hands and, you know, wearing a mask and not going into congregate places if it's not necessary. All of those things are real and they work. We might not know a lot about COVID-19, about, you know, about the coronavirus, and we're learning, you know, every day there are like thousands of new journal articles that are coming out about, you know, about the virus and about different topics, but we can establish a few things. If you wash your hands, if you wear your mask, if you stay away from people who are otherwise sick, and when you are sick, you know, stay home, those things work. Now, one thing doesn't work versus the other, like it's a layer. You have to apply all of these measures. So be thoughtful as you go out. You know, if you need to go shopping, be thoughtful about it. Don't go out, oh, I forgot salt, and then run back to the store. Like, you know, stay home if necessary. Now, things are opening up. Community is opening up. Had the lockdown, and now we're opening up society because, quite frankly, we cannot stay in lockdown forever, right? So that is where all these measures become critical for you to apply, you know, to your personal life. Our kids are going to have to go back to school. You know, we're going to have to go out and, you know, meet with friends. But let's apply those measures so that we can be safe. There's no telling what the fall will look like. Are we going to have another surge, or as we open up, are there going to be more cases? We still don't know. It's possible. And so that's why we need to be careful. I'm not sure if I answered everything to that question, but anyway.
I think you said what we needed to hear. It was exactly what I needed to hear. You know, because we're going back out, we need to make sure that we have all the measures. We take all the good, what they've told us to do. And like you said, it's layers, right? It's layers.
Right.
And I like the part where you said, you know, you forgot something. Don't just say, I forgot this and I want to go back. No. Plan yourself before you go out and do what you need to do and then go. So everybody's being safe. You're making sure that everyone is safe around you. I thank you so much, Nika, for coming. I mean, this has just been awesome. I'm just gonna say hello to a lot of people that have joined us because they have been commenting.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, everyone. I forget.
I can't go back to the very beginning. I mean, we have so many people online. We have LMK. We have Kemi, we have Dalakbo, we have Chem L, we have LA Swans 40, Drill Draws, Toy Baby. Oh, that's actually my mom. We have LM. We have Aditi, we have Queen Bee 1722. We have I mean, we have so many people and everyone just commenting. Thank you for this information so much. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. Don't ever stop learning. I mean, thank you, Sister Nikki. I mean, literally everyone has just been saying thank you because the information that has been, you know, that you've given to us is just like, I can't even tell you how good it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
TT. So, I mean, just to like round up, there's so much that you said, and I'm just gonna piggyback on just a couple of things that you said, so that we don't leave here and forget it. So basically, it's that if you're feeling stuck, you know, don't stay stuck. So remember that. If you're feeling stuck, don't stay stuck, and make a plan. Make a plan, get a good community. If you don't have a good community, EPR is always here. I mean, EPR has helped me, it's helped Nika, it's helped in so many ways. Reach out, and then, you know, look for mentors, get coaches, and make a decision. Because if she didn't make a decision, she would not be here doing what she loves to do. So thank you so much again, Nika. And again, we have just a couple of announcements. So we every Saturday we're a praying group. Because you know, to get through your day, you have to pray. Okay, and so join us. Join us every Saturday as we pray on EPR. So we also have, you know, our network, our APR Women's Network is having a workshop this upcoming Saturday, and you don't want to miss it. We're going to be having resume critiquing. We're going to be having mock interviews. We're going to be having LinkedIn profiles review. And a lot of people are looking for jobs now. So it's not just applying for the job. What do you do when they say, okay, we want to interview you? Or even before then, they look at your resume. So you want to be at that. You want to register. We'll put a link up. The flyer is actually on our page, so I'll put it up again. And we also do Command the Week. Oh, you have to come to Command the Week. Before you start your week, you need to command it, okay? And we do that before the week begins. So join us. Thank you so much for being here and for joining us on this journey as we go. Next week, we're going to have another Insta live series. And so we're looking forward to that. Okay, you have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.